Welcome to Mercy's Designs. My name is Mercy and I sell Stampin' Up! Products. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this Dutch fold using animal outings and a variety of different dies, etc. So I wanted to make a baby card because my friend had a baby. So this is what I came up with, and I'm going to do one that's more of a gender neutral theme, or so you could send it for a boy or a girl. All right, to get started with, I'm going to bring in my base, and what I'm using here is a card sheet that's cut at 11. Well, it comes at 11, I cut it in two, but instead of the 4 1/4, I shaved it down a little, and that's important because of the doors. So the doors is 8 1/2, and you score this at 2 1/8, 2 1/8, and it makes this little thing. So eventually we'll want this in between here. So before, you can keep shaving off a little until you get it to fit right. I don't like having a gap, so the 4 1/8 measurement is just too tight. Now, my inspiration came from Jan B, and she made a card using the rectangle stitch dies. So, but I wanted to take advantage of that edgelet. So we'll get going with some scoring. So the first one is very simple. You just are going to do the standard 5 1/2, and you're going to score it like that. And I like to, because we're using the edgelet, just leave it on. But if you're not leaving it on, this you would measure from here to here at 9 1/4. So I have some written directions, which I can show you here. And this again is the inspiration card from Jan B, although it's using scrap cardstock, etc. So I'm not going to focus too much on that, but I like to have a recipe or a template just to help me stay on track. All right, so now I am going to bring in the big shot, and we will do a little bit of cutting with that edgelet, or the edge. So I'm going to bring that in and show you one of my mistakes that I made. So, oh, I think I might have shifted this a little. It's kind of natural for you to think to turn it this way, but if you do that, you'll get a line in here. You can't see it really well, but here you can see the line. So you don't want to do that mistake. So what I like to do is go ahead, bring in my big shot. And I'm sorry, this is a little bit bulky. And I like to turn it over here, and I just line it up and make it as straight as possible. So I'm just looking at this. It's got a nice little line here. And then I'm just going to flip it down. I do not want to run the whole thing through. So I'm just going to put it in like this. And you want to do it a little bit of an angle. It will go in better. So I'm just going to run it through till I hear it cut it. And the reason why I don't like to go too far is these plates tend to leave impressions on the paper. So I want to skip that part. So here it is, and it looks just like that. Now, one of the things I do suggest is when you are doing lining it up for this one, go ahead and mark it. So I am going to bring in my ruler. Whoa. Oh, here it is. For a second there, I thought I lost it. And because we're cutting off with the edgelet, instead of doing the, oh, hang on a second. You want to leave an extra 1/8 of an inch. So one of the ways I did it, actually, maybe I'll do this method instead of using that, is I actually used a little bit of scoring, the score mark, and then that made it pretty simple. So I think we'll do that. Okay, so I kind of, that was a little bit rough to do that, so I sped that part up. But now we have this piece, and this is going to layer on here. And if you happen to have too much here, etc., you could adjust it and cut it down a little. But I'm very happy with that, so I'm just going to go ahead, attach that really quickly. So here, it'll go right here. I'm going to bring in my Tombow glue, and then we'll add the doors. So this is actually a pretty straightforward card, but these edgelets can be a little bit tricky. And again, you don't want to mess up and do it the reverse like I did, because the way it looks, you almost think you've lined the edgelet up here, but you want to line it up on the waist part. So I hope that tip helps. Here is our little doors, and this paper is not directional, so this is an easy part. The only thing you keep in mind is do not glue on these flaps. You just glue on the back side and set it down. So you want to line it up straight, and then what I like to do is set it and make sure it's flush. So here we have our doors, and then this flaps over. Now the next part is about the stamping that will fit under here. So what I like to do is go ahead, stamp it first, and then die cut it out with the rectangle die. So I will do that and speed this part up, and you can see the end result, and we'll talk more about that. So here we have it. I wish I had put it a little closer here, but it turned out pretty well, and I think it's really cute like this. So the next part will be bringing in our little kangaroo, and we're going to be doing some coloring to make that really cute, and then back it with the Perennial Essence Vellum. So again, I'll speed this up and we will do a little bit of coloring. Now we will go ahead and continue assembling. So I'm going to bring in my vellum piece here, and we're going to add a few dimensionals on the back here to pop this up. And one of the tips I wanted to talk about is when you're gluing onto vellum, only do it on the part that's going to be covered. And if you need further tacking down, I would suggest just using a glue dot. It shows less than glue. Glue will darken it and make it look really unprofessional. So just do that, keep that tip in mind. So I'm just centering it here, and we will bring back in our card, And we are almost complete here. So when you're gluing, again, just do the part you know is going to be covered up. So I'm just going to avoid anything I know would possibly show, which is quite a bit of an area, but again, you can use the glue dot if you find that you need that. I think this is just an adorable little welcome a new baby card. And I do like the yellow with the saffron. I think that's really a cute combination. So I'm going to bring back in my original. And thank you again for watching this. And I hope you were inspired. If you were, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that. I'd also love to hear comments. And I will also list all the items I put in here in the description below. So be sure to check that out. Here is another card I used that's similar. I just wanted to show that, and that's with the Magnolia dies, this 3D, and I used from Colorful Seasons, I think it was, this little twig thing. But I think that turned out as well. I also wanted to show how I decorated the inside. I won't show how to do that, but basically you're using the giraffe and the stamp that came from Animal Outing. But thanks again for watching. If you have any stamping needs, please email me at mewants3@gmail.com and I'd be happy to help you.